Good evening, this is the Borough of Crafton regular meeting, April 22nd, 2019, call to order. Flag salute with Ms. Perry.
Pledge of allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Amendola.
Here.
Mr. Kraus.
Yo.
Ms. Berry.
here.
Ms. Glasser.
Here.
Ms. Damitz.
Here.
Mr. Rosario.
Here.
Mr. Lavasser.
Here.
Mayor Bloom is not here. Solicitor Corbel.
Present.
Engineer Minsterman.
Here.
Public Works Director Kazarowski.
Here. Moving forward, may I have the approval of the bills list dated April 22nd, 2019? So moved.
Well, if you're gonna have to speak into the speaker, or I don't hear them.
Can you hear us better?
Nope, don't hear a thing.
So moved. Do we have a second? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Alright. Moving forward to the approval of the
If
minutes.
we have questions on the bill list? Did I miss that?
Sorry, we're dealing with technical issues. We can back up to you if you have a question.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I printed the
You know what?
speakers
No, I
first
don't.
and go.
I'll save it. I'll save it.
Okay.
Do we want to?
So, want to take that vote over again?
Alright. All in favor of the approval of the bills list?
Aye.
Alright. All opposed? Hearing none. Alright. Moving forward with approval of the minutes dated April 8th, 2019. So moved. Second. Okay. Any questions, discussion on the minutes? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All that opposed? Alright, moving forward. Seeing that we have no citizen comments for agenda items, I'm going to move forward to the acknowledgement of the written reports. Treasurer's report, financial report, Act 511 report, trash collection reports, property tax collection report, the police report, the EMS report, the ordinance officer's report, the building inspection report, public works report, the fire department report, and the library report. Any questions, comments? All right. Moving forward to President's report. Just wanted to let everybody know that there's going to be the Char West Cog dinner. I went to the Char West Cog meeting last Thursday. The dates for that meeting, hold on one second. Forthcoming, 1 second.
I don't hear a thing.
So,
They're
I'm looking-
not
looking.
saying much of anything right now.
yeah, I'm just looking for the date for a meeting. I'm sorry.
I'm wondering if we should get that closer to Bill.
Yeah, this thing's like stuck.
Yeah, there's not much room here. Have to do it.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to pull this up for you. All right, so I want all council to know this. Thursday, May 16th, 2019, the same dinner that we had last year at Rockefeller's Grill. It's at 1833 McKees Rocks Road. There is a cocktail hour and hors d'oeuvres at 6 p.m. and the buffet dinner at 7 p.m. The guest speaker is State Representative Anita Astorino-Kulik. So just want to let everybody know that this is the 38th annual dinner meeting, and to let us know no later than April 30th if you plan to attend. The cost of attendance is $45 per person. So please let the administrative office know if you intend on going, and RJ will keep tally. All right. Beyond that, the COG meeting was pretty low-key. We had a couple presentations. One of the presentations being interest, the engineering folks, Gateway actually was present. They talked about a product called Reclamite for road surface rejuvenation for asphalt surfaces. Beyond that, there was a roundtable discussion about things going on in the area, and overall, people are reinvesting in their communities, new equipment, and there's obviously a need for some of the communities that find new borough management or township management. So there's like a call out there for applicants at some of the municipalities, as well as there's a discussion that they would like to have our police departments make sure that we're participating in the Charlotte West Cog Officers Association or Chiefs meeting. So I just want to make sure that that's out there. Beyond that, it was a good meeting, and we learned a lot about some of the engineering solutions out there. And the Vector for the Charlotte West Cog was down in March, so they actually had an operating loss, and they're hoping that municipalities like the Borough of Crafton will use that. So I think
That's our main way.
So with that, that's all I have to report about the Charlotte West Cog meeting, and that ends my report. Thank you. All right, moving forward, Mayor's not here. We'll move on to the engineer's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. The only item I wanted to supplement to the engineer's report is the idea that the Crafton Boulevard project, which is the Elkasan Grow Grant project, we're zeroing in on a proposed concept. It's a complex project because there's two different watersheds involved. There's some significant utilities to deal with. There's some property acquisition and right-of-way easements that need to be acquired. So we are getting close, and basically what our next steps are is to meet with some of the affected stakeholders related to the project and the proposed concept before we final it, to make sure that some of the utility companies, the city of Pittsburgh, and some of the subject property owners that we'll be needing to communicate with all understand and accept generally the concept that's at hand. So what we're planning on doing is we're setting up meetings now with the two major utility companies, which are the water and gas companies, as well as the city of Pittsburgh. Also, we're asking council to reach out to the two property owners that we're looking to utilize property. One is the school district. It's an area across from the school that it appears to be was a building that was purchased and demoed for a parking area. So we're looking to utilize that, and also then to discharge stormwater over that hill down to the stream below, and I believe that property is owned by the local conservancy, Allegheny County Conservancy. So those are the two property owners that we're looking for council to meet with and begin discussions on just right-of-way easements for those properties. That's all I have for an update.
Okay. May I ask a couple questions?
Sure.
The last phase of the Clearview Avenue project, when's Felino going to be back to finish up their work?
Yeah, we've talked to Felino. The weather is breaking, obviously, a little bit of rain. They're aware of the two inlet or the manholes that need to be adjusted. So we're just waiting to hear back from them on the schedule to come out and do that work.
Okay. And then the state work related to the tree damage in parts of the municipality, are you guys helping coordinate that, or is that that's with you, you're dealing with?
Yeah, that's we contacted Felino. They're trying to coordinate a meeting with the Shade Tree Commission representatives and Felino to actually review and examine the damages to the trees and how they're going to be reimbursed for the damages. That communication came from the state, So they're holding their pay until those issues are resolved.
Okay, and then the final issues with independent, we should be in good stead with that.
Same thing, still cleaning up. There's been no resistance, it's just getting them there and finishing up the work.
Okay, and then the project for the rain garden, we're doing monitoring with Alcosan, with piezometers installed, and we have to do that study and we're going to receive final pay on that.
Yes, there's a closeout payment amount. I can't remember, I know that the drilling was scheduled to install the piezometers. It's been working with Alcosan for the locations, and that's all set and ready to go.
Okay, and then the joint issue that the mayor, the solicitor, and Gateway are working on with regards to the Johnston Street project. Is there anything that council has to take action on this evening, or are we still waiting to hear back from the landowner that needs to provide an easement or a right of way?
That's right. We are. And my microphone is not working. Oh, maybe it is. No, it looks like it might be.
None of them seem to be working.
No, I'm trying to, how's this, Alice? Hope you can hear me.
Okay, I can hear you.
Good. So we are waiting for one of the property owners to contact. We sent a letter, the manager sent a letter last week to one of the property owners about the easement agreement, and I have yet to hear from them, but am ready to discuss that with them or their attorney.
Okay, and in order for that project to move forward, timeline-wise, if we get that agreement executed, what's the timeline to get the work underway, to get shovels in the ground?
Yeah, the design is complete. It's a matter of, once we have the executed easement agreement, is to let the contract. So we could be starting work as early within 2 months by the time the bids are let. Usually give a month for the contractors to calculate and submit their bids. Usually, and then after the council approves, it's usually 2 to 3 weeks after that to get the necessary permits or bonds and insurance, and then work can begin. So we're probably, if we have the approval today, probably 2.5 months out of starting work.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
All righty,
I have a question for the engineer.
yes.
I understand about 45 days ago, the borough the council received a letter from a landowner in Crafton about some water issues down by the park, by the parking lot. Some water was running into a basement there, caused quite a bit. Are you working on that, or? Mr. President, do you know anything about that?
So this is something that I kicked over to Steve, our solicitor, and
Oh, okay.
Alberto is the one that I talked directly about. This is a property right beside, where the rain garden is.
121 West Steuben Street,
Yeah.
next to the park.
So, the property owner had essentially a question or a concern that us paving the parking lot had caused his basement to flood, I believe. We didn't receive any, Steve, you can throw out the.
Did you get a copy of the letter,
mentioned.
Mr.?
Yeah, I believe I have it. It's been a while since that came in.
He got no response. I talked to him earlier today, and he hasn't heard back from the borough. I guess the letter was addressed to all borough members, or all council members, and I haven't seen a copy of it. So I'm wondering if there's some action going on.
I believe that Alberto,
Philip, you haven't heard about this?
I'm trying,
it was several months ago, we talked about it, but it was a while back.
It's been at least 45 days.
yeah,
Do
I'm
you not
trying,
know about it?
I'm trying to recall if I actually saw the letter. Maybe it would come up during one of our engineering public works meetings.
Yeah,
Well, something I think we need to pay attention to.
I can send out a copy to full council.
Is it
if
on
you
that
want.
drive thing that? I don't know how to-
I'll double check, I don't think so. But essentially, that was, the property owner was representing that he was concerned his basement was flooding due to the parking lot having recently been paved. Alberto's, once he took a look at it, he basically said the contours wouldn't be causing that from his understanding.
Have we
And that was
officially
kind of it.
responded to the
I
project?
don't think that we've had any official, Steve, you're gonna have to remind me of the term.
I talked to him
What the
today,
file for an
and no one
insurance
has,
claim.
he has not heard from anyone.
Okay, well, then let's make sure we provide
Yeah,
a response from
we
the
can reach
engineering about what their conclusions are.
Sure.
Sir,
So,
engineering, is there
What I remember Alberto talking about is that the water that was coming from the parking lot is going to the same location. In fact, it's diverted now into the pond itself. So there's, when he looked at it, I remember now talking that he had said that the water's directed away from, so if anything, water was removed from flowing towards his property since the paving was completed. So that, do you recall talking about something like that with him?
Yeah, that was what he relayed to me.
Okay. Well, if you guys could respond to the
We'll
property
reach
owner.
out, make sure that we follow up on it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. Any additional questions for the engineer? Hearing none, I'm going to move forward to the solicitor's report.
Just a quick update. If it's not working. Is that working? Anyway, just quickly wanted to mention that I advertised the ordinance related to the Recreation Board and the ordinance updating the Shade Tree Commission. Still working with the manager and Gateway to confirm that the East Crafton parking area is sufficient, and once we get that report, we'll put out the traffic ordinance, which has the stop signs, etc. So those two ordinances are advertised for the May 13th meeting, which is the next meeting of council. That's the end of my report.
All right, thank you.
How many spaces do we pick up, any doing it that way?
I don't know for sure. That's what Gateway's going to look at, I think, about which side of the street makes more sense, etc. It's an angled parking conversion. So there should be more spots than there are now because it's parallel parking.
Late last week, I saw them out there surveying the area. I think it was
Good.
like Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, that would be about right, because I got in touch with them midweek last week, and I think that you had put Mike Haberman, the traffic engineer, on that. The only other outstanding question is, I'm pretty sure that is one of the intersections that we got a Green Light Go grant for coming up this year. So, Alice, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, so, we just want to make sure that any sort of alteration to the traffic pattern wouldn't cause, void of that grant agreement or things to change. So that's, again, another question that we've kind of kicked over to Mike, since he tends to be the one that handles those types of grants. So once we get all that information back, we can move forward with that portion of the traffic ordinance advertisement.
Okay.
That's all I have.
All right. So, now on to the manager's report. That's what we do.
It's gonna be quick this week, don't worry. So for elaboration on any of the agenda items, I'm gonna skip over the clear gov motion, since that is the next item on my report that I'm gonna go into quite a bit more detail on. The first motion under Public Works regarding the purchase of a super paver, I suggest once we get to this actual motion on the business agenda, we give our Public Works Director a little bit more of an opportunity to elaborate on how he can use this equipment, and sort of his logic behind feeling that this is a good pickup. But just for sort of some background on the purchase being paid out of the annual liquid fuels distribution. So we get a set amount from the state that's based off of a formula that includes population, how much they take in liquid fuels. They divvy up essentially between all the municipalities in the state. So you have to use this specifically on things that have to do with road maintenance, so that can count salt for winter public works operations, or patching potholes, hot patch, different materials like that, which typically that allocation has pretty much been accounted for just from our salt purchases and different things like that, but lately it's been getting a little higher. We were fortunate to get some good prices in salt in the last couple years, so we have a bit of the 2018 allocation left over. And we did just talk to the liquid fuels auditor that stopped by the other week, and he confirmed that a piece of equipment that would be related to essentially the patching of roads would qualify as a liquid fuels expenditure. So, if the money's there, we might as well spend it on something useful. So again, I'll let Rob elaborate, if he has anything additional to add. I just wanted to explain sort of where the money for this purchase was coming from. The next three motions are related to the O&M activities for the sewer maintenance. The first one is a CCTV contract. Historically, we've gone with Shaycog's joint bid for this, just because that's usually the best way to get, the most cost-effective pricing there. We did take a look with the engineers at some of the other contracts that we're required to do every year. The excavation and the lining repairs, we felt that because we were such a large portion of the contract this year that Shaycog would be going out for, we weren't necessarily getting that economy of scale benefit, where it was pretty much just as effective for us to go out to bid ourselves, and that way we would actually have control as to when the work was done, rather than depending on the Shaycog contract. So that is why we are advertising our own bids, pending, an approved motion, for these two contracts. Last section, seasonal hires, we discussed this pretty extensively last meeting. This is just the final proposed hire list. I know Ms. Damitz and Ms. Perry interviewed some of the pool management candidates, I believe it was Thursday and Friday, had some final hire recommendations that were incorporated into the wage resolution and the seasonal hire list, which is all updated, took their feedback into account as well as what we got from the last council meeting. So that's everything on just sort of the 10,000-foot view on those motions. Happy to answer any questions about those, maybe when we get to the business agenda section. Now, sort of the big item that I have on my report tonight is describing ClearGov, which is a service that I ran into when I was doing some of my comparable budget research a couple weeks ago. This is essentially a platform that it's a company that hosts pages for municipalities where if they can pull their publicly available data, they do so and represent it in sort of basic bar charts. Now, there's not a lot of nuance involved in how they sort of do their budget crawling, but it's there if you Google it. I found somebody else's page, thought, oh, well, what if Crafton exists on the platform? Googled us up and saw we were unclaimed. So I thought, well, what does that mean? Let's claim the page, which kind of led me down to a demo of the service. The main service is providing the ability to sort of fine-tune budget information so we can present our different funds, where the expenditures are going year to year, just some sort of easy charts and graphs to take a look at for the average person that maybe doesn't have a ton of experience with municipal budgeting. However, the part of this service that I'm really excited about is they also provide project tracking for infrastructure projects as part of the package. So you can essentially create sort of a proprietary project page, let's say, for the road paving program, and you can upload plans, specs, photos, schedule, budget, how much you've spent of that budget, timeline. People can subscribe to these individual project pages, so they're able to get notifications instead of maybe just sending out letters or throwing something into the website and hoping that the right person stumbles across it. They can basically get email newsletters. So this is something that I was really excited about, just because as part of the engineering meetings, I know it's come up a couple times where our council president wanted us to sort of get this tracking, or at least schedule, put online for people that are interested in the various projects. And this seems like a really good way to do it. It's pretty low cost. I did have a couple different consultations with the rep that was working with the borough. And although they typically only sell this project tracking platform with the financial transparency piece, because it's a little bit more of a startup cost, there's an onboarding fee that comes out to about maybe $5,000 to $6,000 up front, and then about $3,500 to $4,000 a year. They are willing, because we have things like the road program, the Johnston Street sewer project, some of these different sewer initiatives coming up. They're essentially willing to provide to us for the rest of the year the project tracking platform, so we can check it out, see how it works for us, if we like the platform, which I played around with it a little bit. I think it's a really great tool. But then we can subscribe to the full service in 2020. So they have offered this project tracking platform portion to us separately for about $1,600. So there is a motion on the agenda under the administration section to approve this proposal that basically says, you know, pending final council approval at the end of the year, you can expand to the full platform, but we will provide you this project tracking software, or well, I should say, you know, online platform, at this reduced prorated cost for the rest of the year. So, I think this is a really great way to kind of hit that public information goal. If anyone has any more questions about the platform, it's pretty much dummy proof. So, you know, it's sort of a point and click. What you see is what you get. And I would strongly recommend that we go ahead and approve the proposal. That's for review in your meeting packets tonight if you want to take an extra look. I've sent it over to Steve in case he has any questions.
Can you put yourself on mute when
But
you're
other than
talking?
that,
Because there's a lot of noise coming over.
does anyone want additional information about the platform? Or,
The
I'm
URL,
getting a lot of noise from you too. I'm in the sealed room right now.
Okay, all right.
the URL for this, or the website, will have its own website, or will it be,
Yeah.
we have a hyperlink from our website
So-
to this
right.
application?
It's basically, I think cleargov.com is the platform. I'm gonna have to double check, but you can just Google ClearGov, it'll come up. So the projects will get like a dedicated URL page as part of the Crafton account. So we can go on our website and just put the links up for the different projects that people would like to review.
Okay, so then from our website, we'll be able to hit this
Yes.
and redirect?
Yep.
That's awesome.
You can share it anywhere that you can post a link, really.
Okay,
It can be easily accessed by anybody, it's completely public, those no need to sign up for any kind of
That's
account.
correct. Yep. There's a ClearGov Crafton page, it's public right now. I think it only has 2015 information, and like I said, there's a little bit of nuance that's lost because, you know, sort of this aggregator software doesn't really know what to do with a sewer fund or a road fund or capital improvements or those different things. But if anyone's curious about at least what the financial piece looks like, which we would not be implementing until potentially the 2020 budget cycle. But you can, you know, Google ClearGov Crafton and pull that up right now.
okay.
All right. So the last two items are just kind of quick hits. Crafton earned the 30th year of their Tree City designation this year. That's something that one of our super volunteers, Mary Luxbacher, helps us fill out every year. They sent us a big flag that we cannot fit anywhere. And, right, yeah, and nice little plaque, you know, we have a couple running over the years. So, you don't hear without some intentional care and people that are putting the time into making sure that we have a good tree canopy. So, you know, thanks to everybody over the years that has put in the effort to maintain the Tree City designation. And we've got 30 years, so let's make it 31, right? Last item, Ingram Avenue. I just wanted to give a quick update because, you know, this is something that the community has been very clear about. This is important to them. If you take a look at the city's paving list for this year under District 2, Ingram Avenue has made it, so it'll be getting done. We're still gonna need to finalize the actual reimbursement agreement between us and the city, but, you know, it's actually made it onto their publicized paving list, and, I have no reason to think that, you know, the agreement won't go through, of course, you know, pending final vote, but, we've sent basically a draft sort of agreement template that we took from the last time that we did joint paving with the city, which I think may have been on Chartiers Avenue. The Department of Mobility and Infrastructure has it, so, you know, essentially if there are any more updates, I'll let you know, but it seems like we're moving forward as planned. So that's everything that I've got. If anyone has any questions, happy to answer them.
Anybody have any questions for the manager? Hearing none, we'll move on to the business agenda. Under administration, we have a motion to accept the resignation of Martin Avery from the rec board from a term ending September 30th, 2019.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. I was able to attend the first rec meeting, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend any other ones. I know that Martin Avery is a good volunteer, and I know that he served on the library board, and he's always around Crafton in the thick of things. So, why is he resigning from the recreation board?
Do you have any?
Do you know, Mr. President?
No, I don't know.
Marcia, do you represent the Recreation Board? Do you have any idea why he's resigning?
No, I don't,
No idea?
no idea.
Well, I don't think we should vote here without having a reason. He's a good person, he's a good man. And suddenly he's resigning from the Recreation Board. And I'd like to know why. Do you think there might be some mean-spirited people that are on that Recreation Board that are giving him a bad time and he just doesn't want to deal with them anymore? Do you think there's any of that going on?
Fred?
I mean, really, you represent council on that Recreation Board. You go to the meetings, we need some answers.
I don't have any, I don't have it.
Hmm.
Fred, you know, he does have
Well,
children that go to school here and stuff.
Hold
Okay.
So I'd like you to table this motion until we have an opportunity to bring him in or if you want to do an executive session, we can do that. But I'm very disappointed that he submitted a letter of resignation, and I'd like to know why.
And maybe Mary Luxembourg knows.
You're not allowed to speak, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Do we have a second to table the motion?
Do we have a second to table the motion, anyone?
I'll second it.
Okay.
Can we arrange a meeting with him and sit down and?
I called a vote on whether or not we should table the
There has to
motion.
be a vote on the motion to table, no debate.
I see, okay.
So there's a roll call vote. I would suggest a roll call vote.
So we're tabling the motion, that's what we're voting
You're
on.
voting on tabling the motion, Fred.
I'm not talking to you.
There's procedure here, so, okay.
So there was a motion made and a second with respect to the underlying motion to accept the resignation. And then Mr. Amendola moved to table, Ms. Perry seconded, so that cuts off any debate on the underlying motion or the motion to table, and council now votes on whether it wants to table. And if the motion to table passes, it's moved into the next meeting or whenever somebody moves to take it off the table. If the motion to table fails, then council can continue debate on the underlying motion and eventually vote. So that's where we are. So at this point, it would be a roll call on the motion to table. Yes yes vote is to table the motion, a no vote is not to table.
Give me 1 second, I'm just gonna set up the notes here.
Yeah, I'd really like to hear from him.
All right, motion to table, roll call, Mr. Amendola,
Yes.
Mr. Kraus,
No.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Ms. Glasser,
Yes.
Ms. Dammons,
No.
Mr. Rosario,
No.
Mr. Lavasser.
No.
Okay, we are not tabling the motion. So we have to then vote on or continue discussion.
Yeah, continue discussion.
Let's
So,
continue discussion. The
so-
four of you must
so-
know something that the
so-
rest of us don't know.
so.
So let's talk about it.
I can't speak as to what's going on into Mr. Avery's life. I mean, I believe we received a letter, I
He
believe
did
there was.
not submit
No,
a
there was-
public resignation letter.
Okay, so was there any detail we received it via email?
Not that he provided directly in an email.
So how did we get the resignation?
He sent an email essentially indicating that he wanted to resign.
Okay,
Um,
but there's no explanation?
I believe he provided a confidential explanation directly to the two of us.
To who?
Mr. President, who has the
To you, Mr. President?
No,
He gave
no,
you-
I have
did you
not,
say-
I have not spoke with Mr. Avery.
Mr. President, who has
So-
the floor? I call a point of order.
So,
The president has it.
So my question is if this is a matter that we can have an executive session for,
We can, yes.
so let's have an executive session to discuss, and then the manager will share what she has to share with us. Okay? So we're gonna have an executive session, this shouldn't take more than,
Why don't we just?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, so we're gonna go in there, okay?
Is there another battery powered